back to another episode of Ideally, though.
Ideally, though.
I'm your host, Erica, and with me is my hubby, my bestie, my butterbiscuit.
Yeah, what up? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We made it to 2025.
It's surprising.
Is it?
The last four have been pretty fucking crazy. I'd say that. Like if I watched a wrap up of the last like presidency
Mm-hmm.
essentially, right? And like all the things that happened over the last like 4 years. I am quite surprised we haven't like just bombed each other into like oblivion for all the shit that we've basically done like in each other's own home countries alone. You know what I'm saying? It's been some wild stuff over the last 4 years. So here's to another four, huh?
You know what's a little strange? I haven't heard anything about the Ukrainian war. Is it still going on?
Yeah, still
You
happening.
know how it's just like a big wave and then we just stop talking about it?
Yeah, it's easy to change a flip of a switch when it comes to an algorithm. You write a certain type of code, you can make something go away as much as you want to. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So things that fall by the wayside do fall by the wayside. It just depends on what you're looking at.
I don't know what to expect for this year because like the first day of 2025,
Yeah.
it was like a little girl gets mauled by a dog. Cybertruck blows up in front of the Trump Towers in Vegas. The Texas man drives his rental into like the New Orleans crowd.
Yeah, I just read about that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's some crazy stuff, man. Like I said, the last 4 years was crazy. If you even look back, you're like, oh yeah, that dude did implode with a whole submarine full of billionaire people.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
within the
so.
last 4 years, it's craziness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I think it's just staying positive because I'm like, oh my
yeah,
gosh, what's going
yeah.
on?
It could get to a point where you feel a bit nihilistic about things.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine, how so many of y'all feel out there. Uh, Keeping a positive headspace is going to be key to getting through these next few.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And really
Mhm.
keeping like life going, stress free type shit.
I've gotten some good news for 2025. So Nia Long is actually finally getting her star on the Walk of Fame.
Hey, look
I
at
love
that.
her. You know, she's my favorite
That's awesome.
actress.
Good for her. She
Yeah,
deserves it.
it's crazy to see certain actors. I'm like, they haven't even been doing the caliber or the decade she's done, and they got a star. So I was like, are we just
Yeah.
handing out stars now?
Yeah, it's about time. It's
Yeah,
about time.
I'm happy for
And
her.
also, yes, they are just handing out stars.
I mean, if you're paying for it, now that we found out that you have to pay for it,
True.
then
True.
you might can get yours expedited. Just
Like
have
it's
some
mail.
have somebody like vouch for you. Like people like Macaulay Culkin waiting, or he's waiting a long time to get it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
oh, come on now.
Like Home Alone's a staple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That man
Hmm.
makes bank every year because of that movie. So
Yeah.
come on now. What are you
I
doing?
forgot who said they still. Oh, the one who plays Charlie on Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, like the old one in the '70s.
Yeah.
He said he still get royalties.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's like $8 to $10 every 2 months.
Eh,
You
I
can
mean,
rack
shit
up
falls off,
$100, baby.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least he's still seeing something from it.
True, a little something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's like what? Like a gallon of gas or
or
two.
something. A couple weeks ago, we talked about like our favorite TV shows for 2024, and we
Yeah.
finally got to watch Squid Games.
Yeah, that was fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
and they broke records, the highest rating show ever on Netflix.
Again.
Yeah, ever.
No
Anticipated.
shit.
And it was good. It was everything. Like
No, yeah.
you know how hard it is to really top your first season, especially if it was like a big one. And he did his thing on Squid Games
They call
too.
it the sophomore slump. I think that's what
Yeah,
it's called, right?
music, TV shows,
Yeah.
it's really hard.
Even movies when you have a sequel, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's really hard to top the next. You
Yeah.
got to really try to push the envelope and stuff. And yeah, no, this season was really
Yeah,
fucking
it's good.
badass,
If you
yo.
haven't watched Squid Games yet, season 2, like watch it. Now this is me. I don't mind it dubbed, but I watch the shows. I'm a cinephile like multiple times. So with him, he wants to watch it with the regular language, and it's fine. It's fine.
Subtitles because it displays and conveys the emotion better.
Is there anybody else out there that like feels distracted by subtitles? Like you're freaking reading and then you're missing things on the show, especially if it's like a horror show or movie. You're missing those little ghosts in the background and stuff because you're reading.
Yo,
So
okay,
that's the
that stuff
con.
makes sense. That stuff
Yeah.
makes sense. But when we're talking about like a foreign show, something that is actually foreign, it needs to be in its own language because the ADR is trash normally and it doesn't convey the emotions right.
That's fine. I mean,
Or the story for that
the
matter.
only show I ever said to you that I feel like it dubbed was kind of ridiculous was Alice in Borderland. Other than that, I don't mind the dub. You
It,
know, I'm getting the emotion. I feel it.
no, no, you
Yes, I
don't.
do. And
No,
I
you
still love it.
don't.
I never took anything away from the show just because I had watched it the first time dubbed. I was okay with it.
Look, it doesn't take any. Okay, I
I
can
think
say
people say
personally,
that.
it does take away some stuff from me because it
Exactly.
sounds corny or it sounds uh like it's forced, and you don't want that. You want the natural actor's emotion. So when we watched Squid Games and it was subbed, it was way better. We even did a little test.
Yeah, we did.
We did the little test.
And you thought you were gonna win me over, but you didn't.
No,
I said
I didn't think not.
I see both emotions
Uh
from whoever
you,
whoever's dubbed
I
it.
know I'm not gonna win you over because you refuse to be wrong. Period.
That's not true. That's not true. But for me, what I like
Mhm.
is not always what you don't. You know what I'm saying? So with me, I'm like,
Respect.
I like the voice, and we gotta praise the voice actors. It's hard to do it.
It feels
It's
like
like really
it feels
messed
like
up.
they're phoning it in most of the time.
Listen, there's some unsung heroes out there, and you're not giving them credit. I mess with the dubs, if I have to. I'll be
Mm,
getting into my K-pop dramas, K-dramas, and
nah,
stuff like that, and I don't mind the dub.
gotta be subbed.
No, but
My opinion.
either way, it was a great season,
Absolutely phenomenal
and I
season.
heard that it's supposed to come out June 27th, the final season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Squid Games.
Heard? But I thought it was
Well, I
supposed to be
saw it
fall.
online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be fall, or if this date is correct, I just put it in my calendar
That'd be
just so.
cool.
Yeah.
Keep a lookout for it, and you heard it
Hmm.
here first if that was the case.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
mean, bravo,
Yeah, Squid
bravo
Games is really
to
good.
being able to top the first season.
And I was able to put it on my list blindly,
Mhm.
and it did not disappoint.
Yeah,
So that was good.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Today I wanted to talk about love language.
Oh, love languages. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like recently, as of probably the last couple years, people start kind of talking about love language.
Mm.
I don't know if our parents ever talked about love language with each other. I feel like we're starting to open up like different like codes of like relationships that maybe like either our parents just never talked about,
Mhm.
or it just wasn't they just never discovered.
Yeah, I can say that.
I mean, you seem like you're a little bit more open with your mom. So did she ever talk about like specifically saying love language?
No, not in particular, but what she did discuss with me, when I was younger, uh, do fall into the realm of such. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
was more like uh how to be towards a woman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you can always interpolate information. You know what I mean? From and extrapolate that stuff and go, oh, okay, she means this. Quality time or whatever the case may be.
Did your dad
So
ever tell you about? Okay, I have a question.
absolutely fucking not.
I have a question. When since you have a mom, Jesus Christ, you have a mom who taught you about like this is what you should do with a woman.
Mhm.
Was it one sided, or did she say, "Hey, this is what I feel
No.
like men or like women should do for men"?
Surprisingly enough, no. She actually did say this is what a woman should do.
Okay.
I mean, it was very, I'll say, nuclear family.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Which, I mean, in a way, do I disagree or agree with it? I'm indifferent. If wherever the needle falls, in my
Right.
life,
I think
cool.
it depends on the person too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Depending on the person, for sure. That type of stuff, it was more, you know, the realm, I'd say. That stuff. Uh, those lessons didn't come from anybody but her. She was a prime example in what she did in her nuclear family vibe in that way.
Gotcha.
Uh, she was a complete caterer to her husband.
Yes, like acts of services is her
Yeah,
love
definitely. At
language.
least that's what she was doing for my dad at the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
What do you think your dad's like love language was? Like,
gifts,
okay.
gifts. So,
And that's kind of falls in the acts of services in a
yeah,
sense.
I would
Yeah.
say that too. Well, I mean, I feel like, well, I guess you're right. It is an act of service, but these material things kind of
Hmm.
like was his way of showing his care
Gotcha.
over time. I mean, I don't think he has voiced that at all.
Hmm.
My father wasn't necessarily a person who was very vulnerable with the feeling side of things. You
Oh,
know what
I
I mean?
definitely get that. So it's
Male
really hard
feelings.
to be
Yeah.
like, okay.
That nigga was just a workhorse. That's kind of like all I knew as I was a teenager and kid.
Hmm.
You know, it's not up until you realize as a man later on, like as you grow into adulthood and you start looking more introspectively, you start to understand those types of things that your parents do, right?
Hmm.
And none of those lessons ever came from him. He was very much like locked into his own feelings, and the way he expressed those things always ended up being like what he could do for you.
Oh, gotcha.
So that act of service thing kind of does fit. Yeah.
You know what it is though? It's like if that's what they seen in their like either friends' parents or their parents, because you know a lot of our
Media too.
parents are
I would include media in
yeah.
that too.
It's like, oh, I got to get her roses, and that'll make her happy,
Word,
you know, or
definitely.
it'll shut her up or
Something
something.
like that.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
I'm gonna go with the latter.
And I feel like I don't have a lot of people in my family that are married,
Mm,
so it is really just going off of movies and then just maybe people around my age personal experiences
uh-huh.
of like, okay, am I tripping here? What do you guys do? What's your love language and things like that?
Hmm.
So I get that. I don't know if I can really go off of anybody close to me, their marriages in a
Mm.
sense, because it just doesn't align with mine.
Ah, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess you can just take little outlines from people and
I
then
mean, learning from people's mistakes, I think, is the same in the same realm of learning from your own.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You can
Hmm.
just like adapt too.
Yeah.
So maybe you is it possible? I'll ask you this: is it possible that you may have learned about your own personal love languages through the application of learning from those people's mistakes?
Not really.
Ah, okay.
I just always know what I wanted
Ah.
in a sense of like, I guess watching TV, I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. Oh, I like that. You start learning, and then you grow up and learn
Those
about
things like
yourself.
you relate to.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So I'm gonna name off some of the love languages. I don't
Yeah.
want to say some,
There's
but
five. There's five.
yeah,
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Physical touch,
Right.
quality time,
Mm-hmm.
acts of services,
Mm-hmm.
words of affirmation,
Mm-hmm.
and receiving gifts.
See, that's why I said that the receiving gifts is the different one.
Well, with your dad, is like his love language isn't really receiving gifts, is it? It's more of
No, he
the.
knows that my mom's is
Do you think that was your mom's?
a lot of the time. That it was a mixture between receiving the gifts and I would say the quality time.
Mm,
Um, I mean, it's really weird to like kind of boil yourself down to just these five when I feel
yeah.
like humans are day to day switching in between all five in
Yeah,
one
I
way,
think
shape,
at
or
one
form,
point, but
right?
I guess whatever kind of is more like has a percentage on you most of the time,
Hmm.
then I think that's what you kind of can
Yeah.
go off. Like for me,
Uh,
my top two, I would just say,
mhm,
is probably quality time,
mhm,
and acts of services.
mhm.
Because I think as a mom, sometimes you're doing a lot, and it's nice to be like, oh wow, you did that. Like you took the trash out, you cleaned the
Yeah.
whatever the ceiling fans. Well, I don't know, just stuff that's like okay, I didn't have to worry about
Yeah.
that. So I feel like that's what I like.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that wouldn't be necessarily my love language to you. That's just what I feel like I like.
Right.
But I feel like what my love language is acts of services, like or actually I feel like it's probably the gift thing, like giving things.
Mm.
I think that's why I like. I like to see like, oh, you've been talking about this, so that's what I want to give you. I want to like give you things that you've been needing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I do talk, side note, when I do talk about like and nerd out about the video games after you buy me a Steam card, that's like a good thing. That you feel good about that?
Well, yeah, if you're talking about stuff, especially like with you being a gamer, and I'm assuming like all your like disposable money probably go into games.
When I was younger?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
when we
definitely
met,
was.
like you being so it's just like, well, now you have a family and you have to set some of that aside a lot
All
of
of it.
times. So you know, it's like, okay, well, here's a little bit of what you could have been missing.
uh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that. You do give really good gifts,
You feel
so.
like I do?
Oh yeah. You do, you do. I will never be able to top it, which sucks, because like that's tough.
I think like growing up, if I'm being honest, my dad was a really good gift giver to me.
Mhm.
There are certain things I especially like clothes, like don't give it. Like my dad sucks because he's a man and he's a little older. But other than that, like he's a good gift
That's
giver.
something. That's a skill to learn. That is
Yeah,
definitely a skill to
so
learn. I mean, I personally feel like it would be it'd be words of affirmation, and I would say physical touch.
is what you would like.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
mine.
that
Those
makes
are mine.
sense. It
Those
totally
are
makes
mine.
sense. I think because you give so much words of affirmation that I'm like, this is probably what he likes, like
I
in
do.
return.
I ended up doing so.
Yeah. And it's not
It's super
necessarily
subconscious. I just
I think that's something I don't know. Do you feel like it's something like your mom would do?
yeah.
Yeah, she's really good with words of affirmation. I think it can get drowned.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
can.
the
It can
problem.
feel definitely like love bombing.
Yeah, the love
Uh,
bombing I particularly have a problem with.
yeah.
Um, and then I would say selfishly, that's not something that I want
Mm.
because I already get it. So I guess if I didn't really get it, then I'd be like, words of affirmation. But like I feel like I'm pretty filled up on that. So I definitely get you wanting words of affirmation. And
I
you
mean,
said,
alone all my life and having a job at 6, what can you fucking do, right?
yeah. Do you feel like a lot of guys need words of affirmation?
We don't get told enough. I feel that's why we have that like manosphere problem now. I
What
do.
do you
I feel
mean?
like that's why we have like Red Wing, like people who are like in the Kevin Samuels and the Fresh and Fits and the who's that bald nigga Andrew Tates, and
Hmm.
that's why we have that now, because a lot of men might not feel adequate enough when they put forth their own personal vulnerability. Because
Hmm.
back when we were younger, it was if you were vulnerable, you were gay or a bitch. You know what I
Mm,
mean? You were soft.
yeah.
That type of shit. And now men are like, yo, like I'm going through it. There's been a lot of people who've just been like, yo, I'm really going through it.
I think that
And
sometimes with women, um, and this has been the experience I've seen, is that you can give somebody words of affirmation and they take it as if like, yeah, like it's that. I've seen that experience. So I can see how some women are like, I don't mind words of affirmation, but I'm not trying to blow this nigga head up because you run into those player type of guys. So then you're like, you kind of put them all, you put a whole bunch
we
of
wouldn't
guys
have
into
that
the
problem.
same.
I don't think we would have those player type of guys if somebody was able to feed into a person's ego and make them human, but also let them know like I like this human. I think this personal human is the shit. It's
Yeah.
okay to do that.
I think, yeah. Hmm.
I don't think that happens enough. That's why you meet the inflated egos of niggas who
Hmm.
have to inflate themselves and they have to prove themselves, and then you become like a person they rag upon. Like that's where classism and shit like becomes
Yeah,
involved
it's
and
this
shit.
thing of these games that has always been like that since we were younger. It's just like, oh well, she said I was all that, and then I'm talking to this girl, she think I'm all that, and it's like, and then you find out, okay, this motherfucker just like, it's one sided. The balance is off.
I think
So
the
I could see that as a maybe a reason why sometimes women don't tend to give words of affirmation. Not saying it's a good reason, but I think, yeah, it's time to kind of stop as women because we want to hear our words of affirmation, like, "Oh my God, you look so pretty. Oh my God, you're doing so
well,
well."
I
So
mean, you
I get it.
also do it a lot yourselves. There's a lot of like women empowerment. We are in that era. It's been like that for a very long time, but it's gotten louder with the impetus of social media and things, where voices of women are a lot more louder now, where you don't really even worry about another person or another man in particular
Yeah,
giving you the word of
what's
affirmation.
that about? Yeah, I think also, and I'm glad you said that because men are looking for affirmation from women, but men are not ever looking for affirmation from another man, and we get affirmation from other women, and we sometimes expect it too.
We do, but that's where we loop back around to my statement earlier, where we get the manosphere. It's the wrong time. of like backing and shit like that, that women empowerment and things of that nature. It's the wrong
Mhm.
type of it, but it's there. It's the wrong type completely. I think we need a balance of, being able to be a man, but knowing that a man can also be a gentleman
Mhm.
in the same type of like, branch, if you
Yeah.
will, um, rather than having to focus on these high value things and high value woman and what's brought to the table and blah 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 blah. I think that allows you to be in a silo, which
Yeah.
we already see. It's apparent that a lot of this stuff is in a silo. Um, we don't do it in the right manner, which means we have to switch that type of mindset. That's a personal, I think, man thing. But I think the sensitivity from a woman helps with a lot of that. Um, Not with a woman being the goal. The goal should
Yeah.
be to be like a better man overall, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Someone who is going to benefit you as a person, your family, and your community as a whole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But with a sprinkling of like the woman side of things helps keep things, I feel like, in a certain type of balance where like things are considered differently.
I think that's why I remember a couple days ago for New Year's Eve or New Year's Day,
Mhm.
you're like, hey, I text these people, and I'm like going down my phone book,
Yeah,
and I'm like saying like Happy New Year, and you're like, oh, I don't even do that anymore. And I'm like, I just never know what someone's going through.
sure.
So even saying like, hey, oh my God, you did so good with that. Oh, I saw you posted that picture. What an amazing project you finished and stuff like. I think it's important because, I mean, you've even witnessed people who are about to like unalive themselves. So you just never know what the smallest text, phone call can do to somebody.
Yeah.
Especially like, we're in an era of, we've always been this way though, because we've dealt with Facebook and MySpace and things where social media is like, this is how you're supposed to look, this is how you're supposed to act,
Yeah.
so it's good for someone to say, you know what, I like that you're a little different. I like that you do
Yeah.
this.
I think there's a bubbling of a lot of men who you weren't able to break through the thing unless you were doing something with yourself, and it's in the point where you have to have a spotlight kind of shined upon you, and
Hmm.
there's a bubbling of men who are like, yo, I'm just a regular dude,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, and I wish somebody would like me. um that those people are getting looped into those circles with the fresh and fits, the manospheres and shit like that,
Yeah.
and that's where you get the internal negativity towards women and
Yeah,
the
those kind of guys, I would never be
the
like
right
words of
wing type of
affirmation.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they wouldn't even go that route. If maybe somebody, I'm not saying it's needed, I'm not saying it's necessary, you should be able as a human being to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and work it out
Yeah.
internally. You should be able to. But
Hmm.
if you can't, and maybe some bit of support from a woman you might have had the uh the opportunity to get close to. Not
Hmm.
close, but maybe even talk to. Maybe get like a how you're doing from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Might have changed his perspective on things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he may not have ended up on that right end talking about like, oh, I need a high value
That's
woman and
true. It's always these bad experiences,
yeah.
and then they're like, I
Oh,
don't date this type of woman.
and
I
I'm
don't.
not. I don't. I will never blame it on women because there is a absolute reason why women chose the bear in the woods rather the man in the woods. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
There is an absolute reason why they would much rather be lost in the woods with a bear than a man.
Yeah.
So, duh. You know what I mean? We are all fucked up.
And even right now, dealing with women's rights and Roe versus Wade, or yeah,
It
all that.
continues. The cycle
So it's
continues.
just like not making it you want to do that. But what do you feel like? What, I guess, love language do you feel like you want to work on with our relationship?
Hmm. uh, Quality time.
Hmm.
I'd say that, and I would say also, it's not particularly one of yours in particular. It's one
Hmm.
you're good at, and that's a gift giving.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think I've done that enough
Hmm.
personally in a relationship. I don't, cause I be drippy. I be drippy, and you do all of your shit, but like you set me up nice,
I think that was an irritation for
and
me.
that has bugged me for a very, very, very long time. It has. It's bugged me a very long time, but it's me being a procrastinator.
Or were you
Me
ever a gift
not.
giver?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was at one point, but uh I think putting priorities in different orders has been like the most rough part about being like a family man
Hmm.
overall. And like kind of like still understanding like yeah, you're married, but you still kind of like gotta date that person.
That's how I feel.
You know what I'm saying? You got
Yeah.
to date that person. You got to like do some shit still. And then also being a father includes like doing this, that, and the other. And then you got to like, it's a convoluted web of, neural networks I got to like operate in my head. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's something I've said to you in general about men. I
Mm.
like priorities and everything is always weird. So like I've said, you could take a guy who has a kid and like is now trying to date, and I'm like, that's the reason why when I was in the dating realm, I was like, I never want got to date guys with kids
Mm.
because their priorities are always messed up. And it's like, especially when you're a really good really good dad, and it's not to you being a good dad, but it's like you want to like it is, but it's like you want to like you're like overcompensating for this
Yeah.
kid because they don't have their family anymore, a full
Yeah.
family. But then you want to date and there's no room, oh,
Yeah.
I can't do the weekends because I have
Yeah.
my kid. Nigga, when we gonna date? Like I work Monday through
Where's
Friday.
us?
Yeah, So it's like I always wonder with guys. I'm like, why do you want to date if you have a kid, especially when you don't maybe know that you're overcompensating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not saying I wanted to date somebody if I was like a guy who was a shitty dad, because that's even worse.
Yeah.
But guys need to learn how to prioritize. And then even like you said, in marriages too, it's the still dating me, as you get married. Because what happens is that you get married, you're like, all right, got him, and I can settle into this cushy little, you
God,
know,
that's funny.
cushy little whatever, and I don't have to do much.
Yeah.
But I think that was something that used to irritate me because I was like, man, like yes, bills are due and stuff, but like me, like, and I'm not expecting anyone to do this, but I'm like, if I really want to get you something, I like plan it out months in advance so I can be able to squeeze it in. And I was like, oh my gosh, like he doesn't do that, and it's because bills and responsibility. I'm like, I can do it, so I don't know why you can't do it. So I think that was the thing for me.
Yeah.
Quality time, yeah, absolutely too. Quality time, and again, something that was like we talked about was that I don't necessarily need. We can have to do money, right? Like we can take walks, and I've said those type of things. But I know you're somebody who's like, listen, like it kind of goes into like gifts in a sense. Like, well, I want to pay for a nice like dinner and that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it falls into it in my head. But
Mhm.
that's why I say like we fluctuate between different types as people.
Yeah.
So it's all five. We all suffer from all five.
Yeah.
Suffer, but we all suffer from all five of those like love languages. It
Mhm.
just depends on what's more apparent at that moment and stage of your life in that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All right, I'll ask you the same question. Where do you feel you'll work
I
on?
feel like words of affirmation is a
Oh,
big one for me.
okay.
And the reason why I feel like I'm not someone who's crazy big is because I feel like when you're way up here, and it feels like the bar's way up there, it's like hard for me to be like, okay, like I don't know, it's just like you're like do so much of words of affirmation that I'm just kind of like I feel like I'm looking like a rookie here, and it's actually discouraging me. So, it's like you're about to say something. Like I've had times where I'm gonna say something like, "Oh my god, like I like how that sort of looks," and you're like, "Oh, look at you, your body look." I'm like, "Yeah, how are you?" It's not you, but it's like, how are you beating me to the punch? So it's not in my head a little bit of a competition, and then I get discouraged because I'm like, this fool's gonna come at me one of these days and say that he's been saying all this stuff and I haven't. But I'm also in the middle of like feeling discouraged that like somehow he's trying to win this perfection award and I'm not
Literally
even
never
like
that.
started the race.
The fact that you have made it into a competition
In my head a little
is the
bit.
problem.
Well, yeah, it
But
is.
I have nothing to do with that though.
Yeah, but you're like the person who's just like, oh, look at this is what I do. This is what I do. You have to reciprocate. I'm like, I've tried, but you're beating me to like the. the finish line.
So just meet me there.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it
Yeah,
is. But it's just like one
yeah.
of those things where you want to be random, and then
Fair.
there's nothing kind of in the way of
Because
your moment.
I mean, yeah,
Because
I
then
do.
it looks like I'm coming right behind you, and for me, it makes it feel like it's unauthentic.
Inauthentic. Okay, I got you.
Inauthentic.
I
Yeah.
got you. I
So
got
that's
you.
what it feels like for me.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. I mean, I can respect the fact that like you'll look at that and go, oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I could work on that.
I
That's cool.
wanted to give you the love language quiz.
Oh Lord.
Yes. To see
Oh,
exactly what the quiz says is your actual love language.
okay, because that's what all I'm guessing is this. So let's take
Okay.
it.
How do you describe yourself? An adult, a teenager? I'm taking a quiz for my child.
I am an adult, clearly,
How do you describe yourself? In a relationship or single?
in a relationship.
Because if you say something else, I'll be like, oh, okay. It's more meaningful to me when I receive a long note, text, email for no special reason for my loved one, or my partner and I hug.
I'd rather us hug.
Okay. It's crazy. I did the first one.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's more meaningful to me when I can spend alone time with my partner, just the two of us, or my partner does something practical to help me out.
Just the two of us.
Okay. It's more meaningful for me when my partner gives me a little gift as a token of our love for each other, or I get to spend uninterrupted leisure time with my partner.
Uninterrupted leisure time.
It is more meaningful to me when my partner unexpectedly does something for me, like filling my car or doing the laundry, or my partner and I touch.
When we touch.
When we touch. Okay, it's more meaningful to me when my partner puts their arm around me when we're in public, or my partner surprises me with a gift.
mm, I'd say. Oh man, that's a toughie. Cause now I'm going through moments in like the where
Right.
I'm like, oh, both of those things I like a lot because you've surprised me with some cool stuff.
Which one is more, I guess, lasting? I guess I feel like I was thinking about that
The
too.
GIF, the GIF, because I do end up using the fuck out of that mouse pad.
Okay,
Inside joke.
so it's more meaningful for me when I'm around my partner, even if we're not really doing anything, or if I hold hands with my partner.
Even if we're not doing anything,
So my partner gives me a gift, or I hear "I love you" from my partner.
I hear I love you.
I sit close to my partner, or I am complimented by my loved one for no apparent reason.
Complimented.
I get the chance to just hang out with my partner, or I unexpectedly get small gifts from my partner.
Hang out.
I hear my partner tell me I'm proud of you, or my partner helps me with a task.
I'm proud of you.
I get to do things with my
I don't
partner
like the smile on your face. It's like
because, like,
you
I know
know
where this
these
is going
answers
to.
already.
I get to do things with my partner, or I hear supportive words from my partner.
Mm. Supportive words.
My partner does things for me instead of just talking about doing nice things, or I feel connected to my partner through a hug.
Feel connected.
I hear praise from my partner, or my partner gives me something that shows they are really thinking about me.
You know what gives me something that shows me they're really thinking about me is nice.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm able to just be around my partner, or I get a back rub or massage from my partner.
I'm able to just be around.
We're like totally opposite on some of these.
Mm-hmm.
My partner reacts positively to something I've accomplished, or my partner does something for me that I know they don't particularly enjoy.
Don't particularly enjoy.
My partner and I kiss frequently, or I sense my partner is showing interest in the things I care about.
Interest in the things I care about.
My partner works on special projects with me that I have to complete, or my partner gives me an exciting gift.
Projects. We're
Projects.
literally in the middle of one right now. What's up, y'all?
I'm complimented by my partner on my appearance, or my partner takes the time to listen to me and really understands my feelings.
Takes the time to listen.
My partner and I share non-sexual touch in public, or my partner offers to run errands for me.
The touch in public is cool. That's me.
All right. My partner does a bit more than their normal share of responsibilities, or I get a gift that I know my partner put thought into choosing.
What was the first one?
The first one is like doing like responsibilities that you would normally do, like more of a share. Like I don't know what you do around the house. Like if I make the bed,
That's just funny as fuck, yo.
like I don't make the bed.
Uh,
If I started making
what
the
was the
bed,
second one again?
I get a gift that I know my partner
The
put thought.
gift. The gift. The gift.
My partner doesn't check their phone while we're talking. My partner goes out of their way to do something that relieves pressure on me.
Release pressure.
I can look forward to a holiday because of a gift I anticipate receiving, or I hear the words, I appreciate you from my partner.
Appreciate it.
My partner brings a little gift after they've been traveling without me, or my partner takes care of something I'm responsible to do, but I feel too stressed to do at the time.
I think the stress thing. For sure.
My partner doesn't interrupt me while I'm talking. Gift giving is an important part of our relationship.
Interruption.
My partner helps me out when they know I'm already tired. I get to go somewhere while spending time with my partner.
What was the first one?
My partner helps me out when they know I'm already tired.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's always done. Yeah, the top.
This that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
We'll have a couple more. My partner and I are physically intimate, or my partner gives me a little gift that they picked up in the course of their normal day.
Physical.
Physical. My partner says something encouraging to me, or I get to spend time in a shared activity or hobby with my partner.
Shared activity or hobby.
My partner surprised me with a small token of their appreciation. My partner and I touch a lot during the normal course of a day.
Touch a lot throughout the normal course of a day.
My partner helps me out, especially if they know they're already busy. I hear my partner specifically tell me, I appreciate you.
Appreciate. I'd say that.
My partner and I embrace after we've been apart for a while. I hear my partner say how much I mean to them.
Embrace.
And then the last one is my partner puts their arm around me in public. I get to do things with my partner.
I get to do things with my partner.
Okay, so it is saying your primary love language is quality time.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's saying.
Yeah.
I feel like
Okay.
that and probably words of affirmation.
Both of those.
That
I
is
would agree. I would agree.
that is your thing.
I would agree. Definitely. Definitely. Did you
Yeah.
take it too or
I did
no?
take it.
What did it say for
I
yours?
got I don't know why I'm like forgetting. I think mine was
I'm gonna take a
acts of
guess.
service.
Ah,
What did you think it was? Sorry, I talked to
I was going to say acts of service.
yeah, acts of service is
Yeah.
me.
You are a woman who likes action.
Yeah, and I know you know that one.
So that's why I immediately went to like acts of
I
service.
think and that comes with and whether we kind of pay attention to our parents or not, like my dad it was a doer or he is a doer.
Yeah.
So like there's no like oh it didn't happen,
Yeah.
it happens.
Right.
And I can appreciate that in a man.
Mm.
So when it kind of lacks, I'm like, come on, bro. Like I'm not necessarily saying I want you to be my dad because that would be gross, but I'm saying like that is like you summed it down like like
You like action.
action,
Yeah.
yeah. Just want to get stuff done because I'm somebody who's it doesn't necessarily have to be done right now, but it needs to be done.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can agree with the quality time thing because there are things that I uniquely would like to display, show, and share
Mhm.
that requires like it would require you, for instance, to like pull away from the things you might enjoy to
Mhm.
go do something you might not be either a aware of
Mhm.
or interested in or comfortable with that type of
Gotcha.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can agree with the quality time portion of that for sure, for sure. That makes sense about me. And also the words of affirmation.
I
I've
think I
always been the guy in my family in a lot of cases. I mean, I was a lot of a fuck up and I got into a lot of trouble and shit,
mhm.
but like, who was always constantly doubted. and was like, "You're gonna be a statistic." So
You're going to jail.
yeah, my mom is. She was like, "The places you're going to go is jail or hell." And I was like, "One of those two, mom. That's it. Thanks." And then so being able to like push myself past that doubt
Hmm.
and understand that now you that nigga and you can be that nigga. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It helps to hear that sometimes also though, for sure. So I can those two I definitely agree.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, the world's on the man's back a lot of times,
Yeah,
but it's on ours too. So
for
it's just
sure.
kind of
I
like,
don't even think it pays attention to the fact that
yeah.
it leans on you so much
So I think that's
or
why acts
women
of
so
service
much.
is my thing, because it's like when you're doing like everything in the house plus whatever you got to do, it's like, okay, relieve me a little bit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Do you have any last words of wisdom before we head out for the weekend about love language?
Study your personal love language. Get introspective and think about yourself, and then consider the partner you're involved with.
Yeah, I think
Also,
opening it up, because sometimes with their love language, you might just be like, no.
yeah, vulnerability and being an open minded in that type of thing
Yeah.
will lead you pretty far. I'm sure.
Hmm.
I'm sure.
Now, remember, you guys, we do drop our new episodes every Friday on all streaming platforms, and we're on YouTube at Ideally Though Pod. So, like, subscribe, hit the bell button,
Share them shits.
and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Here.